and welcome back to the Spruce Grove Public Library YouTube channel. I'm Sarah, the Children's Librarian, and we are reading A Boy Called Bat, which is our Global Read Aloud pick for 2018. So we are reading several of the books that they picked this year. We're reading A Boy Called Bat, as I said, and this is the one you're currently watching, if you haven't actually read the title underneath. So we're reading this one, and we're also reading Love, Hate and Other Filters. So if you read teen level books, then come read along with us on that one. And it's a slightly different story, so slightly more hard-hitting, but it's a very good story. And we're also reading some picture books too, so if you want to read some of those, if you've got younger brothers and sisters or little kids at home, then come read those with us too. Now we're up to chapter 24. It's called A Reply. So I think it's about Dr. Dragoo, which is a very awesome name. So, Bat, said Mr. Grayson as the students filed into the classroom, you got an email from Dr. Jerry Dragoo. He wrote back, Bat said, his heart beating faster. There were only a few days left until Thor was supposed to go to the rescue centre, and he had almost given up hope. What did he say? You can read it at recess, Mr. Grayson said. It's a nice email. I want to read it now, and all the other kids were at their desks, but Bat was still standing in the aisle. He felt his hands pull up tight against the sides, the way they did when he was excited. At recess, Bat, said Mr. Grayson. Bat hated waiting. He hated waiting. It was stupid to wait for something if there was no good reason that it couldn't happen now. Who cared if class started a few minutes late if it meant he could read his email? A real-life skunk expert had written to him, and that was certainly more important than anything Mr. Grayson had planned right now. Had a real-life skunk expert ever written to Mr. Grayson? Almost certainly not. Mr. Grayson, I really think you should let me read my email now, Bat said. Bat, Mr. Grayson answered, sometimes we have to wait. It is good practice to delay gratification. Bat really didn't know what Mr. Grayson meant by that, but he knew it meant that Mr. Grayson wasn't going to let him read the email right now. He wanted to insist, and he would insist if he thought he could change Mr. Grayson's mind. But Mr. Grayson looked serious, so Bat reluctantly went to his seat. Too bad, said Israel, putting down the book he'd been reading. Don't make fun of me, Bat yelled. Whoa, dude, Israel said. I wasn't making fun of you. Bat, said Mr. Grayson, coming over to his desk. What on earth is the matter? Israel was making fun of me, Bat said. I was not, said Israel. I just said it's too bad Bat can't read his email right now. You don't really think it's too bad, Bat said, and he kept his eyes on the surface of his desk, running his gaze over the wood grain. I don't know what I think, Bat, said Israel. You don't know everything. Bat, said Mr. Grayson, putting his hand on Bat's shoulder, and the weight of his hand felt good. It helped Bat to feel like he was sitting in his seat, like he wasn't about to fly away. Try to give Israel the benefit of the doubt, okay? He said he was being sincere, and so believe him. Bat nodded, but he didn't look up, and Israel went back to his book. For what it's worth, Bat, said Mr. Grayson in a quieter voice, I think Israel was being kind. I think he'd like to be your friend. And then Mr. Grayson took his hand off Bat's shoulder and returned to the front of the room. Now, Bat wasn't just thinking about the email from Dr. Jerry Dragoo. He was also thinking about whether Israel wanted to be his friend. He thought about how Israel had asked him if he wanted to play Foursquare, and how he had said hello outside of the sugar shack. And then he thought about the other kids in the class looking at him right now, and he thought about Thor's eyes, and he thought about the windy day outside. It was too much to think about all at once, and his skin began to feel prickly and too tight. But he couldn't take off his skin, so instead he reached into his backpack for his earmuffs and slipped them on. The classroom noise around him faded, and Bat's skin calmed down. Bat looked at the clock above the classroom door. It said 8:55. Recess was at 10:15. That was exactly 1 hour and 20 minutes away. He could wait that long. He didn't like it, but he could do it. Time was a funny thing. Sometimes an hour and 20 didn't seem very long at all. Like when Bat was watching YouTube videos about animals. And sometimes like when Dad was watching baseball on TV, an hour and 20 minutes felt like years. But that day, the hour and 20 minutes between 8:55 and 10:15 felt like 20 baseball games. At last, Mr. Grayson said, Okay, gang, go play. And the kids shoved back their chairs and headed for the door. Bat pulled off his earmuffs and went to Mr. Grayson's desk. It's recess, he said. Yes, Bat, it sure is. And Mr. Grayson opened his laptop. Can I read the email too, Israel asked. He hadn't gone outside with the other kids. Why? Asked Bat. Because I'm curious, you've been talking about Dr. Jerry Dragoo non-stop. That wasn't true, was it? Maybe it was true. Okay, said Bat, but no making fun. I wasn't making fun before, Israel said, and I won't now. Here you go, gentlemen, Mr. Grayson said, and he clicked on the top message in his inbox. The subject line said, question about a baby skunk. And then he stood up so that Bat could have his chair. When you're done reading your email, just close the laptop and come join us outside, he said, and then he headed out to the playground. Bat sat down. He could feel Israel standing behind him reading over his shoulder. The email said, "Dear Bat, I am very interested in skunks, as you know. I can tell that you feel very attached to the kit, and I don't blame you. Baby skunks are adorable. But the question of whether you should keep him as a pet is a complicated one. If your mum feels reasonably sure that he is disease-free, all pets require a huge commitment of time, energy, and usually money, and skunks are no different. In fact, keeping a skunk as a pet is much more challenging than keeping a dog or a cat. Skunks are not pets by nature, they are wild animals, and from my many years of experience, I can tell you that most people don't know what they are getting into. It's very easy to fall in love with a baby skunk, but it is difficult to truly be a good caretaker to the skunk. Most people would be better off with a dog. Still, this skunk kit has come into your life, and for at least the next few weeks, you and your mum must be hard workers to be the best caretakers you can be. Should you keep the kit? Should you give him to the rescue people? I don't know the answer because I don't know you and I don't know your kit, but it sounds like for now the kit is right where it needs to be, and I trust that you will take good care of it. Sincerely, Jerry Dragoo, PhD, Dragoo Institute for the Betterment of Skunks and Skunk Reputations. That's too bad, said Israel. What's too bad, asked Bat. That skunk guy doesn't think you should keep the kit. That's not what he said, said Bat. Well, he didn't say that you should tell your mum to keep him. He didn't say that skunks make good pets. That's true, said Bat, but he didn't say we shouldn't keep Thor either. He said that a good caretaker makes a good pet. So all I have to do is be the best caretaker in the world and convince my mum to let me keep raising him. I can do that. And Bat closed Mr. Grayson's laptop, absolutely determined to be the best caretaker that the skunk had ever had. Can I come over sometime? Israel asked. Why? Asked Bat. I don't know, said Israel, to hang out and maybe meet Thor. It's okay by me, said Bat, but I'll have to ask my mum. And that's the end of our chapter. So we'll find out what happens next time. Thank you for joining us for Virtual Storytime this week. If you enjoyed this story, come and visit us at the library or give us a call or a message and we will help you find more books, DVDs, movies, backpacks, whatever your literary heart desires. Thanks once again. Bye-bye.